So welcome to the second video that we're going to send you. And we've got loads more coming up, like machine-based workouts, and we've got a HIIT workout coming up as well, haven't we? But today we're going to take you through some mobility work and kind of like warming up and cooling down the muscles as you sort of need to. It's not a prescribed warm-up and cool down. It's just kind of an investigation into the way you move and how that investigation into the way you move and the way how flexible or inflexible your muscles are can then lead into the rest of your working out while you're here in the gym. Yep. Is that about right?
Yeah, for sure. Like Adam said, you can obviously get a very generic warm-up, cool-down that you can do for your exercise routine, for your gym program, just to get your muscles warm. This mobility video and drills is going to be more about identifying maybe sort of imbalances that you might have and how you can improve them and how it can be beneficial to then lead to a better workout. Okay, so not just getting you warm and cool after and before your workouts, but improving your actual workout. Okay.
And taking 5 to 10 minutes at the start of every workout to do this kind of work will exponentially increase the speed upon which you make progress in the gym. And that'll be progress in terms of your range of motion as you lift, in terms of the amount of weight you're able to lift, and also the goals you might have, both in terms of maybe it's weight loss or maybe it's just getting stronger. Either of those, this very much lends into that, because the stronger you get, the more likely both of those goals are going to be able to occur for you.
Moving on from that, I'll just explain a little bit of what the mobility exercises include. So I've based it more around the spine and your sort of torso, so upper back thoracic mobility with extension and rotation. And in those videos I've explained why they're important and how they can benefit you in the gym as well as outside of the gym. And then moving it to more lower body drills, so hip mobility, so hip flexors, glutes, your hamstrings, your adductors, everything that can benefit you in your everyday activities, if you're sitting, if you're walking every day, if you're
a driver.
Correct, yep. Yes. And then specifically in your gym workouts. If, for example, I could say, let's say we do one of the mobilities and you find out your right hip flexor is super tight compared to your left, that could create multiple imbalances, then leading to the wrong activation of your muscles and then leading to injury, yeah? And again, that puts you back in your performance in your gym workouts. So rather catch it in the beginning, find out what's weak, what's tight, what's inactive, what needs a little bit of work on, and then, yeah, take it from there.
And this is what Paige does day in and day out as an exercise physiologist.
Correct, I am an exercise physiologist, so a lot of these drills come from that. It's sort of the beginning phase of any treatment of an injury. You need to be able to identify what is tight, and if you're lacking that range of motion, your muscles are not able to get into that range of motion, and then you're not able to gain the full strength in that range of motion. And when you have those imbalances, you start putting strain on the wrong joints, on the wrong ligaments, on the wrong tendons, on the wrong cartilages where your muscles should be doing the work. So everything leads into one thing. I can go to a rabbit hole with all of this, but this is sort of the beginning, and I would say the basics of each muscle group that you can work on for mobility. And yeah, just play around with them, find out what's tight for you, and then take it from there.
And we call it the human movement system. So it all feeds into other things. So this feeds into your ability to do a squat better, but equally a squat might feed into your ability to release and help these muscles along as well. So the human movement system is like it's almost like a figure of 8, isn't it? That kind of goes between all these different things and all these different aspects of movement in order to really help you achieve what it is you want to achieve.
Yeah, perfectly said. Our first drill is going to be around the spine, okay? Particularly the thoracic spine, otherwise known as the upper back, okay? We're going to do rotation and extension drills. First up is going to be extension, meaning opening up the spine, okay? These are very important for most of us, and a lot of you will find it's quite stiff in those who do sort of desk work and who are sitting all day. It's also going to be really helpful in opening up that spine and back with movements such as your squat and your deadlift, really any sort of compound movement. So first up is extension. Adam, I want you to place the foam roller just below your shoulder blades.
Okay.
Okay, lying on your back.
Similar to like the position if I was doing a hip thrust. Sort of
Correct.
just right under
Yep,
that kind of fatty bit below the shoulder
Correct.
blade.
Same position you would have that bench in a hip thrust.
Perfect.
All right, knees are up, perfect. Hands behind your head. You're gonna keep your chin tucked in. All right. Let's move that femur either a little bit further
Okey-doke.
down. Yeah,
I have big shoulder blades.
that looks better.
There we go.
Cool.
Perfect.
Knees up, hands behind your head, chin tucked in. All right. From here, you're going to keep your hips on the floor. You're also going to keep your ribs locked in. Good. So I don't want you guys opening up your chest cavity because that defeats the purpose.
So flat.
You keep your ribs locked in as much as you can. Okay. Hands behind your head. You're going to breathe in. As you exhale, you slowly extend, taking your back over the foam roller. So extending from here, keep your hips on the floor.
Right, okay.
Yes, on the floor,
right, okay.
and then you slowly extend over the foam roller.
That's very hard
and
to
bring it
do
up.
whilst trying to keep the ribs in.
Correct, yes.
So you're constantly fighting between keeping the ribs in and sending
just-
yourself over.
Because if you let your ribs
Wow.
go, show them as you
You
let
just
your rib
flop.
goes. Good. Let's move that foam roller even further down.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
My shoulder blades are bigger than I
There
thought.
you go. Good. Now just open up completely, let it go over.
Ow.
Okay.
That's painful. It's
Okay.
like being with a chiropractor.
Keep your elbows there. Perfect.
Yep.
Keep it locked. Hips down. Slowly exhale. Take your spine over. Good. I will say Adam is quite stiff. As you can see, he's not getting very far. That's better. That's better. Good. You should feel your spine opening up. Yeah?
Yeah.
You might even get a back crack or two. Not a bad thing.
It's
Okay.
just hard to fight that keeping the ribs in
Correct.
and going down and over.
Yeah.
It's just getting used to that balance.
Correct, because the difference is just opening up your chest cavity and actually moving the spine over. Okay, I would say do about 6 reps, just holding for about 5 seconds. Okay. He's really giving them a go now. And relax.
Thank you.
Cool.
That was great.
It's good, eh?
Yeah.
We're now going to do thoracic rotation, in other words, upper back rotation. Okay. Again, very important for all you gym goers, even everyday lifestyle activities, you're going to find a benefit. A lack in this rotation or range can lead to sort of over mobility or excess mobility in other areas which you don't want. Okay. Right, so I'm going to get Adam to lie on his side facing you guys.
Hello.
Your bottom leg nice and straight. Good, and your top leg's going to be at 90 degrees on top of the foam roller. Awesome. Okay, hands together in front of you. Okay. Important that that leg is really at 90 degrees. It can even be higher than 90 degrees. Yep, good. That's locking our lower spine. So we don't want any movement happening in the lower spine or the lower back. Okay. Hands together. You're going to inhale. As you exhale, you're going to bring your upper hand and rotate towards me, getting your shoulder as close to the floor as you can.
Does my
Good. You
head
can
follow?
look at the hand as well. Perfect. So you can see how he's rotating from his thoracic spine here. Okay. So it's not just the pecs or not just the arm that's swinging, but you're actually coming from your whole spine and twisting around. Okay. Then you can come back into the same position. Good. Try not to do any movements at the knee or the hip. You can even use your left hand to hold your knee as you go. Correct. And exhale. Adam's really mobile here. As you can see, he's getting his whole shoulder to the floor. Some of you might find you're about 10 centimeters from the floor, which you really want to work on opening up that spine.
Isn't that bizarre that I was very tight in my thoracics for extension, but I have great rotation?
Yeah.
Isn't that bizarre?
Very.
You'd think the two would be tight or the two
Not
wouldn't
necessarily, not necessarily. It might be because, you're at your desk often doing reports, programs, video editing, maybe that's where that's coming from. But because you're an active individual, you still have that rotation happening.
be. Excellent. It's good to know I don't suck at everything.
Yeah. Let's compare left to right.
Oh no.
So often there can be a big difference, okay, which again can lead to imbalances, injuries, all of the above. Okay, straight leg at the bottom. Good. And exhale. Keep still here. That's pretty good.
Feels tighter.
Feels tighter. You did look like you took a more time to get
Yeah.
into that position, like you were
It's
cautious.
just getting used to it.
But also be careful not to lie flat on your back. So you want to stay on your right shoulder.
Right, okay.
Okay, so stay on the right shoulder. Yes. Okay,
Yeah,
so it's
okay.
very easy just to go to a flat back.
Yeah, absolutely. To just roll onto
Yeah.
it like so.
And off the foam roller, yeah.
Yeah.
But all in all, pretty similar.
Excellent.
Yeah, cool.
That's a good report for me.
All right, welcome back. So still on upper body thoracic rotation, extension, mobility. This one, another one, extension drill, as well as a pec stretch, opening up the chest. Okay. So, lying on a foam roller just gives you a little bit more height off the ground. Adam wants to keep his lower back on the foam roller, okay, nice and flat, belly button to it, and keep your ribs down as well, okay. Again, knees are bent to support his lower spine. So if he had to straighten his legs, he's going to feel it's easier to arch his lower back. Okay, correct. So now you're legs up, more neutral position. Okay, you're going to take your hands to 90 degrees. Perfect. The aim here is to get your elbows and your hands to the floor. So you don't want to be just in this position, you're aiming to get your hands as well to the floor. Okay, Adam is super mobile here. He's got both touching the floor. A lot of you might find that you're about 10 centimeters. So if you come up a little bit more, yeah. Some people are there, okay? So super tight in the chest, which can limit your bench press, your dumbbell bench press, your overhead press, okay? From here, you're gonna inhale. As you exhale, you're gonna press your arms above your head and along the floor. And he's gonna feel the pecs change more into under his armpit, and then he's gonna come back down to the same position and stretch it all the way along the armpit, under the bicep as well. Yeah, he's feeling that.
I am. Okay. I remember when you first showed me how to do these, I'd never felt my pecs move in that way before. It was revolutionary. It was really nuts. And I've been able to take that into my chest development, which has been lovely.
Awesome. For example, you probably have only done that plane before, but as soon as you start adding, moving, you're changing your angle of stretching, getting the different fibers in different directions. To make it harder, you can add weights to your hands.
You don't need to make it harder.
Yeah, you don't need to make it harder. But if you want to try, even just 1 kg will add a little bit of stretch as well.
I imagine it's also very good for anyone who, in an overhead press, like in our free weight workout, where we show the overhead press, you sometimes get people pushing it kind of away from their body, and their upper back kind of tilts this way as the weight goes that way.
Yes.
So this would be a great exercise to really learn how to get that full extension above your head, nice full on top. It'd really help with that, with your overhead pressing and your military pressing, anything like that. This is the exercise to do.
Perfect example. If someone's tight in this position, in their spine or in their pecs or even in their shoulders and upper back, they will end their military press with their head there and pushing forward. Whereas if you start getting these drills activated, you're then going to open up and get to that more neutral position.
I saw that one of your clients this morning. She's really developed well, getting into that overhead extension position. That's great.
Cool, thank you. Okay, welcome back. We're going to move to lower body mobility. Okay, mainly our hip flexors, glutes, hamstrings, and adductors. Again, important for everybody and anybody, but specifically those of you in the gym. For your compound movements, your squats, your deadlifts, your RDLs, your hip thrusts. It can even influence your upper body movements. Okay, so have a play around, see what works for you, what you need, what you don't need, and we'll take it from there. So we're going to start with the hip flexor.
What muscle are we targeting with this?
Specifically your psoas, because it plays a big role in our hip positioning. So, for example, anterior tilt, posterior tilt, and neutral. Okay, if it's super tight, it can be pulling you too much into your anterior tilt. If it's weak, it can lead to a whole other problems as well. So,
anterior tilt meaning your bum facing backwards and away from you.
Correct.
Anterior tilt meaning
arched back.
Yeah, you're facing more in towards your stomach.
Correct. Posterior, almost like bringing your belly button in. Okay.
And psoas is spelled with a P. That's
Silent
my
P.
tidbit for today.
All right, back foot up on the foam roller, front foot at 90 degrees. Make sure your hips are nice and square, okay? We're comfortable?
Adam isn't capable of doing this today. Right, there we go.
All right, from here, before you do anything, Adam, I just want to explain.
Okay.
So the goal is to go into a posterior tilt, okay? But before Adam does that, I want him to do an anterior tilt so you can see the difference, okay? So here he's arching his back. From here, he's going to bring his hip bones towards his rib cage and tuck under him. Okay, you can see how his glutes squeeze there as well. From here, he's going to keep an upright torso and push his hips forward from the left hip. And he should feel really up in that deep upper left thigh stretch.
Just right here.
If you're really tight, you're going to feel it with just the tilts because the tilt lengthens the psoas straight away. Okay, pushing forwards just adds to the stretch. If you want to increase that, you can lift your left arm over your body and to the side and tilt forward with that and to the side. and he's feeling that. Cool, relax, come back and redo, just so everybody can see that. So relax your, good.
How long do you want to hold that stretch for?
6 seconds.
Oh, wow, that's a very precise number.
Yeah, not too long, not too short.
Anterior,
Posterior tilt,
push the
pushing
hip
forward,
through,
good,
come up.
and lean over. Good. Very important that you don't just lean into your right leg and you're actually pushing from your left hip. Okay. Cool. Well done.
Thank you. And then you do exactly the same on the other side.
Correct.
Perfect. Hello.
Just did the hip flexors. We're now going to move to the hamstrings. Okay. I'm sure most of you will know if your hammies are tight or not. We all sort of do that trick where you try and touch the floor. Yeah.
This one.
That one. Yes.
Does that mean my hammies are tight?
Correct. You're not too bad actually.
Excellent.
But hold your hands where you are and try and straighten your legs.
Yeah, I'm trying. I was trying that before you said it.
Okay. Important though, when you are trying that trick, don't just bend from your back. Yeah, you want to come from your hips. All right.
Similar to if you're doing an RDL.
Correct, a hinge. Yeah, the hinge is where you're going to feel your hammies lengthen. Otherwise, you're just bending your spine and you're not actually lengthening your hammies at all. All right, so there's many drills for improving your hamstring flexibility, but I enjoyed this one because it's quite dynamic and versatile, and you can really feel the stretch. So Adam's going to lie on his back. He's going to put one foot in the band and hold the other end of the band. Good. All right. Before we do anything, he's going to make sure his core is activated and his ribs are down with a nice flat back. Okay. Holding your band nice and tight. He wants to find the position where he can keep his legs straight. Okay, so he's quite far away. If you feel more your calf, you can bend your knee a little bit more and then bring it in to feel your hammy.
The joys of being a runner.
Correct. So bend your knee a little bit more and then bring your foot towards you a bit more. You might feel your hammy more there.
Oh yeah.
Okay, right, so hold that position. Keep your foot
Hello,
flexed.
Mr. Hamstring.
And then to make it dynamic, he's going to move his left leg up and down. So not only are you stretching the right, your core has to work, and the right has to stretch and react to the moving other leg. Okay, so more dynamic. And 2 sets of 10, depending on how tight you are.
Should you be getting tingles in your right foot?
You might. You
Okay.
might be. Because you might be stretching that nerve as well, so that's just activating or irritating that nerve. Not a bad thing. If you do feel tingles, a good thing you could maybe use is called flossing or nerve gliding, where he's exactly bend and then straighten the leg. Okay?
Like that?
With the band, yes. So again, you're stretching your hammies, but you're bending and lengthening the nerve. Yes. If you want to make it more extreme, when the leg is at the top, keep your left leg down on the floor.
Like that?
Yep. Just keep doing your bending. When your leg is straight, I want you to lift your head as well. Good. Now that nerve is lengthened all the way. So lengthened, lengthened. Good.
And this is called flossing.
Yes, or nerve gliding.
My
There is
dentist
a
never
difference
told me to
between the
do
two, but I just use them interchangeably.
Oh, yeah.
Interchangeably.
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 Right, so where was I? I was getting tingles. I was doing this,
Correct.
2 sets of 10.
The idea is that we're just helping that nerve glide more freely and easily through its sheath. Okay, so it's not getting all stuck.
Isn't that interesting? Oh.
And you should feel nice and loose after that.
In one leg, I'm going to walk
In
around
one
in
leg.
circles, aren't I, today?
Try the other one. And also, often people are tighter in one leg to the other. Could be that you're dominant on one, or you've injured one when you play a specific sport. But just stretch the one that needs it most a little bit more than the other.
Getting tingles again.
Tingles. Next lower body exercise or mobility drill is for the glutes. Okay, we have 3 different glute muscles, glute max, medius, and minimus, but this one sort of targets
Most of them.
most of them. Yeah, you'll feel it nicely all over. So we're going to do the pigeon. So Adam's going to place his front foot at 45 degrees
If Adam can place his front foot at 45 degrees.
and his back leg as straight as he can. Right. If you are tight, you might not even be able to get into this position, and we can do a variation from this afterwards. Okay, a little bit easier. That's on a bench. So from here, you want to make sure your hips are nice and square, and you're not just rolled on sitting on your right hip. So if you do it incorrectly and just sit on your right hip, yeah. So now you're just sitting, you're not stretching anything. So you want to come and bring your hips nice and square, Cool. As you can see now, that glute is lengthened all the way from the knee up to your hip is stretched. Okay, good. To increase the stretch, you can take your chest to the floor as Adam is doing. Good. And to make it even harder, you can bring his front foot slightly further forward. Okay.
I really can't.
You don't have to go that far, but there you go. You might feel that a little bit more.
There we go.
Okay. Depending on you might feel it more at this angle, you might feel it more at 90 degrees, but you're just changing the angle of the stretch, targeting the fibers in a different direction. And I would say stay there for a minute. You can even rock your hips side to side to make it a rolling pigeon. But yeah, just go and feel until you feel like you're a little bit more looser.
Yeah, I really love this stretch. I use it with lots of my clients.
It's a super good one.
Yeah.
If you've got lower back tightness as well, you'll feel it stretching there as well as you lean forward. So it's really good. It runs into all the posterior at the hips.
Yeah, and hip flexibility is really important. And it's something we're tight in without really realizing we're tight in it. And it can affect so many movements that you go on to in the gym. And this is just a great way to open them up so easily, so accessibly as well.
Correct.
That's why I like this.
Correct. Hip mobility is so important, and you could be 13 to 90, it's important at every age.
Every age.
Specifically, those of you who sit all day, same as the posture there, you're going to have tight glutes, tight hip flexors sitting in that angle all day. It can limit your squats. You can't get as deep. You're going to have hips pinching. You're going to have torso falling or any sort of imbalance when there's an imbalance in the hip.
I noticed drivers as well have very tight hips.
Yeah, because again, you're in that sitting position all day. So do them and see where you're at and take it from there. Okay, next up we've got the adductors, otherwise known as your inner thighs. Okay, these are sort of a muscle that's often neglected mobility-wise and more so strength-wise. So let's start with mobility. Adam's going to kneel on one leg. Good, and you're going to outstretch the other one to the side. Perfect. From there, can you keep your foot flat that you're sitting on?
Yep.
Cool, and can you come up onto your knee so your torso's tall?
Like so.
Perfect. Okay. Again, same as most things, you want to keep your hips nice and neutral and square. Correct.
Does this knee need to be right under that hip?
You do, so you need to bring it in a bit. Cool.
Come back a little bit so people can see.
You'll find most things, I'll say, need to be neutral. Okay. How are your knees doing there?
Yeah, they're okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
they're good.
All right, so we are stretching, as you can see, here's the left adductor. The aim is to get that leg as far stretched out as you can, and then dig your left heel into the floor, okay? Keeping your hips square, you're gonna hinge at your hips and slowly drop your torso to the floor. That's awesome, except I'm gonna change one thing.
Oh no.
Come back up for me. Instead of sitting your hips to your heel, I want you to keep your hips where they are and just drop your torso. So you stay there. Good.
Am I rotating that toe away as well?
If you can.
Ow.
And you'll feel that lift.
Yeah.
Inner thigh.
Wow. That is some stretch.
Again, 6 seconds.
You feel that like right from that part of your knee.
Correct.
Sorry, this part of your knee all the way through to about here in your hip.
Because that's where it attaches.
Yes, no, I understand that.
Correct.
You don't often feel the attachments and the
Yeah, yeah.
origins of muscles.
So
to experience
the full
that's really
length of it,
interesting.
yeah.
And I find when opening up the hips, when working on the hips, adductors and hips work in synchronicity. So these are just as important as trying to work the outer hips as well.
Yep, yep. Do all of them and you find how you are.
Yeah, just it's only an exploration, isn't it? Correct. It doesn't matter, like with all these videos, it doesn't matter how tight you are, how loose you are. All we're giving you is the options in order to explore yourself and explore your movement, and then see how exploring all of this side of things can feed into getting so much more out of your workouts as you progress through those as you're here at the gym.
Yeah.
So it's not a test, it's not, oh, how flexible are you, how tight are you, we know. No one's judging in that sense. It's just a space for you to investigate and to see how feeling all these things can really lead into your own development.
Yeah, and on that note, on development, often a muscle may be tight, not just because it's tight, but because it's weak as well. So when a muscle is weak, it creates that tightness to act as strength and try and support that joint. So you might not need to only work on your mobility, but also try and strengthen that muscle as well. Okay. And on a separate note, If we lack mobility, you can't get into the full range of motion of movements, and then you cannot benefit from the full strength in that movement. For example, your squat, if you're super tight in your hips, in your ankles, you are not going to get your full depth, and then you're not going to get your full range, and you're not be able to gain that full strength and power in that movement. So mobility leads into stability, leads into strength, leads into performance. So,
which leads into efficiency as well.
Correct.
And it means that the more efficient you make your body, the more you're going to get out of the time you spend in the gym.
Yeah.
So this kind of work is very important in order to get the most out of your workouts. So you can get to your goals actually quicker by almost slowing yourself down at this point, as opposed to working through half ranges of motion and everything else for like 2 years.
correct. Yeah, nicely said.
Thank you.
Cool.
I got something right today. Have fun. And if you have any questions about any of these exercises or anything, you know exactly where to find us here at the gym.
Cool. See you in the gym.
Have fun, people.
Bye.